quick introduction. My name's Gatsby. I'm a senior consultant. I am joined here today by my colleague, Mr. Nick Gable, also a senior consultant. Um, we have both been here for some time. I'm celebrating my 6-year anniversary with YellowLite this week, so I feel like that's a pretty big deal. It is not common with consultants for medium-sized installers to stick around with companies very long. So I do feel like that is quite a significant milestone and something that you might find is common among the consultants here at YellowLite, is we quite like it here. And we don't find the need to, find a seat at a desk anywhere else. So I think that has mostly been proven by YellowLight's track record and the fact that we have, some really hungry individuals here that are very talented that make up the ranks of the operations here at YellowLite. So I'd like to just give some quick applause and respect to my teammates here. Just a reflection in my time here. I've seen them all kind of grow from young men into grown men. And yeah, that, job here at YellowLite has been a big deal and a big part of it. So enough about us individually, more on the focus on YellowLite. We've been installing all across Ohio and beyond since 2009. We have built a reputation as being a mid-size installer that provides a turnkey process and makes things very easy for our customers. So that has been a big focus, is our customer experience, making that as simple as possible and making sure that the points of contact throughout the whole process, that the person that is having the investment installed, that they know what is going on and that they're comfortable reaching out with who they need to. So that's a big part of our focus, and just making sure our customer experience is kind of forefront there. What we do commercial and medium-sized installations. I have had the chance to be on the installation team myself. So having had the chance to put together some of these projects has been a really fun part of my work. Just to be able to provide some type of insight as to how these projects are put together, what the equipment looks like, what the kind of mechanics really look like as part of the project. Having the opportunity to speak to that has been really nice. Um, and yeah, as we move into the future, YellowLite has kind of grown from being a solar only offering to solar and storage. I'd like to think that that's been something that we've really mastered. So it hasn't been something that we really focus as part of our, offering. Just understanding that battery technology is still quite expensive, but it is something that I would say is unique as YellowLite to an installer perspective, that we offer a wide range of batteries. And I would like to think that we can do it with a lot of prowess, just having the history that we do with other types of battery systems we've installed over those years. You can see just some of the stats there, some of our accomplishments, and some photos of our installations. So you can see here what has become pretty well the standard for solar is these monocrystalline, these almost black looking panels with a black backsheet, black frame. That has become more or less the standard for a residential installation. And you can see there in the lower right corner what would typically be installed on a commercial or a ground mounted installation. You can see the silver frame, and it is hard to distinguish, but you can see the individual cells there. So the only difference there is really the aesthetic. You would find the wattage to maybe favor those commercial size panels, and that's just due to the size. But yeah, just speaking and giving a little bit of show and tell towards some of the installations that we've done recently. So quick disclaimer, we're not tax guys, we're solar guys. So when it comes to the tax credit, please consult your tax advisor. If it is something that you know that you're looking into solar in a serious way, I definitely suggest that. So yeah, just a quick disclaimer. Thanks, Danny. And I'll hand things off over to
Hey
Nick.
guys, thank you, Gatsby. Great introduction there. My name is Nick again, and been around for 4 years, so still loving the company and what we're offering. our local neighbors in the area. So just want to give you a rundown here of how the quote process works. So essentially, we just give you a call and check out the roof space available. And we don't try to offer every house a solar installation. Like we want the installation to benefit, the customer or you. Um, so then we have to run some calculations and some analysis. So we need to obtain that electric bill to see how much power you'll actually need to generate from solar and if solar is feasible for you. So with that information, we'll run the analysis and we'll then calculate the energy offsets, savings, financing, and so forth. And then we will review all that with you since there are a ton of options out there for different components, different configurations, different roof spaces. So we like to educate our customers over like about a half hour to an hour on how everything works. And then if we both agree that it's, a benefit to you and your finances, then we can then sign the YellowLite service agreement. And we'll go into a quote snapshot here. So is everyone seeing that poll quiz right in the middle of the screen? We might want to move that over here while we're getting through these slides. Danny, if you could, thank you. So here's just like a brief overview of what the top of the quote would look like. It'll show you the solar design, the number of panels, the system size, the type of inverters, that yearly production, and then the production versus usage consumption offset. We like to shoot for around 100% if you have air conditioning, since solar production is super high in the summer and air conditioning usage is high. It's usually a nice linear offset of your energy bills, which then goes into the next slide here where it'll show you a breakdown of your production, your consumption, and your grid import. And you'll see how your savings actually increase year over year. So a lot of systems we're seeing a payback period of 6 to 9 years, depending on your solar potential. So as energy prices increase at a 2% rate, we also see your savings increase. And then we'll base that into a calculation over 30 years. So pretty similar to like the S&P 500 or some other type of investment. Like with solar installation, you're offsetting future costs, and then you also have that payback. So a nice little way to either finance or find an investment for your cash purchase. And then we'll also show you a monthly breakdown. So a lot of numbers going on here, but it kind of takes all your production, grid usage, your new utility bill, and then we calculate your monthly net savings. So quite substantial amount of savings there. If you pay off your system, you're seeing $2,300 a year for the next 30 years while the system's still warranted and producing. Go to the next slide here. And then we also have the price breakdown. So we also love to show our customers, the total cost of everything. This includes all our permitting, interconnection, utility work that we have to do. And then we sometimes offer discounts. And there's also that residential renewable 30% tax credit that makes these systems a lot more affordable. And then here's a little snapshot of the 30% federal tax credit. So pretty much covers anything solar related, does not cover the roof. So please do not be misled by other marketing from other companies and so forth on roof reinstallation. So you do have to get the system approved by the utility company. Then you submit that alongside the invoice to the taxes, and you'll get that within the next tax season. So there is also a rebate for nonprofits as well. Um, so you don't have to have a taxable liability in that sense. So, a quick overview of the installation. We will work with you along the whole way with the project manager dedicated to your specific system. So, uh, first, we come out, check out what the current configuration is so we can take pictures and overlay designs on your service panel, make sure the amperages and input from the utility is all sufficient. Then we'll submit all those permits to the municipality, county, and utility company. It takes about 2 to 3 months to get that all through the system, and then we'll review the final approved designs with you. Once that is signed off, we will then schedule the site evaluation, and we show up with all the inventory. It takes about 2 to 3 days to complete that whole installation with regards to panels and the electrical. So from start to finish, we're usually seeing about, excuse me, 120 days. And then here's some imagery of the microinverter component of a solar installation with the rails and how they're mounted. So each panel gets a microinverter, and we square everything up to your roof line, make sure everything's level and symmetrical there for you. So nice flat design, barely see the gaps there between the panels, so maximizing that roof space as well. And there's a nice overview of how we could fit as many panels on all the productive roof spaces. So you'll see south facing, west, and east facing, all productive panel orientations there. And then we get a lot of questions on inverters. So just a brief rundown of some of the pros and cons of inverters. Microinverters are tiny little mini inverters mounted on each panel. So these are going to be great for shading and different orientations and pitches, since each panel is going to independently output DC to that microinverter and then convert it directly to AC to then use for your house. So these panels have some pros and these microinverters have some pros and cons. So since each panel is a separate system in itself, they are a bit more flexible in their output with regards to different shading and pitch and orientations to the sun. So each panel could essentially be on a different roof space and not impede the output. And then also you get direct panel monitoring. So each panel you can see the actual output at any point in time. And then if one fails, again, they're all their separate systems. So that one panel will not impede the output of the other panels on your roof. And they also have the best warranty on the market at 25 years. So we have a dedicated service department for all warranty issues and take care of our customers for the last 15 years. So the cons, they are a bit more expensive since there are a lot more components and parts, which also might mean more failure points. And they are a little bit less efficient, so they do have a threshold output that they cannot exceed. And then they're also, on the roof when it's hot, when it's cold, so they are going to see a bit more inclement weather than, say, a string inverter that would be in the garage. String inverter, similar type of system, but all the panels DC output is going to go into a single string inverter and then be converted to AC for your home usage. And then these excel in south facing roofs as well as west and east with no shading. So very high output, very high efficiencies here, and they can be paired with optimizers to act in a similar manner to microinverters. So the pros are, since there's one or two components, there's a big cost difference there. So a little bit cheaper, about 5, 10, 15% in some cases. And they do have like a 99% efficiency in converting power. So they're really going to maximize output in those sunny roof locations. But if they do fail, that whole system will not be outputting any solar energy. So that is one pain point there. And then also, if two panels are shaded out of 10, the rest of those panels are going to also decrease their production because they are wired in a series there. And then they do have a bit shorter of a warranty period at about 13 years. And then back to Gatsby here to finish up the financing and incentives.
Thanks, Luke. Nice job. So yeah,
Thank you.
to kind of open up the conversation on financing options, as we all know, interest rates kind of at a painful point at the moment. So as common as we are finding, a lot of our customers are either seeking what has commonly been most useful to them in this time is a home equity line of credit, or even reaching into retirement to kind of avoid some of the higher interest rates. That's just kind of common for what's going on right now. Speaking to what people might find most advantageous moving forward as those interest rates come down. Typically, what has been most useful are these loans by which we have the ability to re-amortize is the word I was looking for, excuse me. So having the ability to pay the loan back or pay the tax credit back into the loan, making for a monthly payment that oftentimes would match or be less than what you would currently be paying on electricity. So in some ways, that is how you can interpret it is a swapping of your monthly bill, right? But it doesn't always work out where the math is quite the same. So, as you might find, a lot of the other marketing for solar installation, they're commonly pointing at these zero down, no money down due at installation type options. But yeah, that is typically what they are pointing to is these solar loans that allow you to re-amortize the tax credit, and yeah, that is a common tool that we would approach if it isn't a home equity line of credit or a retirement savings account where customers are pulling from. So, understanding some new options that have come to Ohio, the solar lease is something that we are currently in development with. It is something that we are investigating in. At this time, the details understand that the leasing agency, the financier, would actually be the owner of the system, and the homeowner would just be making payments on the electricity that is being consumed. So the idea here, the homeowner is getting the benefit of solar while not actually owning the system outright. And then the leasing agency then takes the tax credit. So it is something whereby if homeowners don't have the ability to utilize the tax credit, it can be a good deal for them, where their electricity bill is reduced by quite a bit, but they also are just getting the benefit of what their roof can offer in the way of solar power. So it is something, again, we're still currently talking with the lease agency right now. It's not something if we've decided yet if we're going to offer towards all of our customers or if it might just be something that might be kind of a special tool in a unique circumstance type of situation. So yeah, it's something that we had planned to talk on more, but we just don't have all of the details quite yet. And again, probably the most common way that people are investing in paying for these systems is through a cash purchase. So again, either utilizing a private loan through their own bank, whether that's a home improvement loan that they might seek out, or a home equity line of credit, or just going into their own 401k to pull that money from. That it does not matter to the IRS. However, you intend on paying the system, as long as you own that home, that tax credit is for you. So you would be looking forward to that in the tax year in which you would have the system installed. And again, quick disclaimer, we're not tax guys, so please consult your tax advisor if it is something that you are note that you're looking into in a serious way. So it's something that the federal tax credit, as it is known, is the ITC, or investment tax credit. And it's not special or unique to solar. So something to also think about is it can be applied to wind, it can be applied to hydropower, it can also be applied to geothermal. So as you see it, it is most commonly referred to or kind of deferred to rather in the name of solar energy. But that same tax credit, it's one and the same for all of those others that I had mentioned. It's something that is beginning that I am pretty excited about is new state and local incentives. So currently, the state of Ohio doesn't offer anything to its residents, but local municipalities are adopting new incentives and rebates for homeowners that are looking to go solar. And whether that might just be in the form of offsetting the cost or subsidizing permitting fees, or offering an outright rebate to have their solar energy system installed, it is not unheard of. So there are communities within Ohio that are offering them. I will hope to have a little bit more information on who and what that looks like, but they are pretty sparse. So just understand it's something that's on its way, as long as we do a little bit more to kind of vouch and raise a hand in our communities to say that we would appreciate the opportunity to offset as much of those costs as community towards these types of incentives. I think that's only just going to help us more. So yeah, just a quick word on the state and local incentives there. Probably the most notable incentive, and what you hear sometimes when people are talking about getting paid for their solar power, this is what they are talking about. So this is something that is aside from the benefits of a solar energy system offsetting the actual electricity consumed by a given homeowner or business for that matter. This is what is known as an SREC, or SREC, as it might be commonly called. What this is, you can think of it as a bond of power. It is a block of energy. Our utilities in the state of Ohio are required to procure their energy from a range of different sources. You can think they have a portfolio, and they must procure a certain percentage of that portfolio from renewable energy sources. And so they appreciate the public marketplace, and they offer a credit towards homeowners, and that is assigned 1 megawatt hour of electricity to one SREC, or one credit. So to answer the question, what is 1 megawatt hour of electricity? That is 1,000 kilowatt hours of electricity. So just understand, when you might get a quote, if you are seeing a production estimate that might say something like 11,250 kilowatt hours for the first year of production, that 11,000 designation, that would equate to 11 megawatt hours or 11 SREC credits. The primary benefit, a little sneak that we get away with, we share a portfolio with the state of Pennsylvania, where those credits are worth a little bit more money. So we can register that system through that and get our customers a little bit more for their dollar when it comes to registering their SRECs. This is all based, again, on the system's production, and it is set up on a 5-year forecast. So it understands that the bond of energy will be good. So however much energy the system will produce in a given 5 years, that can be allotted either in monthly increments, or you can elect to take one lump sum payment as for the 5-year forecasted production for the system. So it's something, it is kind of mysterious. There's not a ton of information, as it isn't the most easy to understand incentive when it comes to renewable energy. So pardon me if I went a little bit long there. I just wanted to explain what is exactly an SREC and how do our customers obtain them. We do register systems on our customers' behalf, and it is something that we can walk you through getting set up, whether or not you want to have a monthly dividend, or if you would like to have that payout, or if you think that you have it handled and you can wrangle it yourself, by all means, feel free to take the wheel. Again, we just set up our customers, make sure that they've got a login for the website, srectrade.com. So that way their system is already more or less just set up and they just have to monitor it. So just another benefit. I'm not sure that other installers across Ohio offer that kind of auto registry with the purchase or installation of their system. So yeah, just understand that opportunity for this incentive might be something unique to YellowLite. And yeah, from here, we just wanted to keep things more or less organic and conversational. So just understanding, what some questions you might have, as everybody is likely coming here from different angles and curiosities about solar power, whether or not you've already made the investment, whether you know it is something that it is in the future for you, or if it's something that you are warming up to. We'd like to just make sure that people are informed and are getting this information from an honest perspective, because there is just a lot of fluff, as you can expect, with this technology being new and with it having the attention of a lot of business owners and homeowners alike. It has the attention of other contractors who might not have the best intentions for the communities that they serve. So yeah, just be careful out there as you're doing research, clicking around out there. Not everything in the name of solar is true. So we would like to just make sure, if you guys are looking for an honest perspective on the matter, come to us. We're happy to just give you our professional and honest opinion on the matter, and you can call us anytime. So yeah, just opening up the conversation. A big one that we wanted to open up the poll. We were talking about it. I think this is a good one because I think the answer is gonna change every time you ask it. Like, what makes solar worth it for you? I think if I can answer the question, it is just recognizing the basic physics, right? I think it was pretty cool that we all got to experience the eclipse and see firsthand just how much power the sun can pull back, in a given moment when it's blocked, and when it is kind of put back in, just to have that unique experience. I think gave everybody the opportunity to kind of, just witness it. So yeah, just kind of recognizing that there's a big physics equation at the end of this, and there's a lot of power to be had there. So yeah, in my opinion, if you've got a roof pointed south and it's unblemished with shade, you absolutely should be putting solar on your roof.
All right, so we got some questions here. My system was installed in 2023 and no one registered or explained SRECs, what needs to happen. So our permitting team can sign you up. They have your inverter information that they need to add to the database. So we just kind of figured out how this whole system works in the last year. So um, we could definitely get you signed up if you reach out to your rep or to us specifically. Um, and then the next question, to date, my system has produced about 6.1 megawatt hour information reflected in the Tesla app. Um, Appreciate that update. That's amazing production there. And so we could definitely get you signed up for the SRECs as well if you are not, and take care of you there as well.
Yeah, Michael, to piggyback there, we have the ability to track that system's production. So we can just cross-reference what is on your app to date, and then also what's on your meter. It'll show a historical record for kilowatt hours per lifetime. So yeah, all this stuff, what's nice about it is you can backtrack, make sure that it is, that a hand is raised in your behalf to make sure you're getting proper credit for those SRECs. Is there any other questions in here? I don't think I see any. So yeah, I guess
Michael,
if nobody else has any other questions, or was there one that came up?
yeah, Michael asked if someone will call him to complete the SREC sign up. Do you mind taking that, Gatsby?
Yeah, I don't mind. We'll follow up. So I will just make sure that your account is more or less flagged, and then I'll have our backend team follow up and make sure that that login is created for SREC Trade. We register the system, and then you're given the credentials. And so yeah, I don't mind. When I get that notice from them, I'll give you a call to let you know it's all set up for you.
With net metering, how do I know how much power is exported? So that would be in your app as well. Um, and then there is the net credits that would be shown on the bill if you have an accrual of credits for the month. So on a day-to-day basis, um, if it's working correctly, that meter will just move forward and move back and essentially level itself out to zero. That is the goal in most cases. And then if you need to see what is exported, that should be illustrated on the bill as well as the app for either day to day or monthly export numbers and data.
So good question. I had a customer call in asking about what is the best way to have panels cleaned, what you should do as pollen is beginning to accumulate. It is pollen season. So yeah, I would say I wouldn't necessarily recommend getting up on the roof in the name of cleaning solar panels. If you would say that they're particularly dirty, you can always call in to our service team, and we can put together a quote. I can't imagine that it's going to be something, beyond a couple $100 as a service for us to do. But it is something. These panels are durable. They're rated for hail, so understanding that it isn't going to be likely that you're going to be doing any damage to them if you wanted to use like a telescopic brush attached to the hose, something like that. I have seen a product on sale on Amazon, on Home Depot, that's something like that. And yeah, the glass that the panels that are on top of the panels, excuse me, it's not as if that has any kind of like special coating that is going to deteriorate from any kind of like soap or like something like Simple Green. So yeah, I would say have at it if it is within reach, if you feel comfortable getting to those to clean them. Um, and yeah, the question on any solution, I would say, yeah, it's simple like soap and water. Dawn, I don't think is going to be doing anything to bother the panels, but yeah, what I use just personally, Simple Green, pretty much has been, like the answer to everything when it comes to just gunk getting in between the panels.
Yeah, and also with that rainstorm today, we do get enough rain where most panels do not need cleaned, so they are hydrophobic, so they're going to actually repel water, dust, and pollen. So, really dusty areas like Arizona that don't get any rain actually have scheduled cleanings, but in our area, it's usually never all that necessary.
Rick, I really like your question, so I'm going to take it. We do have Enphase newest battery, that is the 5P generation. The major obstacle there is having a new combiner installed. And so it does make it so that Tesla would be a more economic option by comparison. If it is something where you just really like that Enphase ecosystem, I can't blame you. I think it's really cool too. I would, yeah, point towards the 5P. And it's just a matter of having the IQ combiner updated. So it just costs a little bit more by comparison. But what's unique about the 5P by comparison to Tesla Powerwall 3 and alike is that you can mix and match in smaller units. It's more modular in its nature, and it is also made up of microinverters itself. So it has a more redundant foundation, meaning its likelihood of failure is a little less likely by comparison to Tesla Powerwall 3. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the 5P batteries. We offer them. I'd love to help out. If you aren't already set up with a consultant, I'd be happy to give you a quote.
Very good. And then back to Michael. He does have a lot of pollen, so um, that stuff is that pine tree pollen is like that bright green. It's pretty sticky. Um, a power washer um, or that scrub brush, could be easily done by yourself, or again, we can do that as well. So hopefully it does rinse off in that rain today, but if it doesn't, we can figure something out. Um, and then for a bidirectional EV or bidirectional charging, so that is pretty new to the market, and the opportunities for current solar installations don't easily allow bidirectional charging yet. Enphase is working on a system for bidirectional charging for their entire home system with solar and microinverters, but that's on the list for next year. Um, so if the car already has bidirectional capabilities, there is ways to wire in additional hardware for that system. However, it's still in the works for any type of simple integration into your current system. I hope that answers the question, even though there wasn't a solid answer in there.
Yeah, it has been something of a almost like a urban legend, like the capability. I feel like a lot of the press and PR on this bi-directional charging, just the mechanics involved, I think are something still somewhat of a mystery. So that's what we like to coin in the solar industry is like a vaporware, just something that's kind of put out but doesn't actually have any kind of hard substance to it. So I wouldn't be surprised as Tesla is kind of becoming one of the more widely distributed battery and inverter suppliers domestically, if they might be one of the first that offer that type of capability to have interchangeable chargeability or intercompatibility between charge options there. Just a thought, just something to think on.
Is there any other questions here? We did touch on a lot of good stuff here, so I do appreciate those questions that we were able to answer.
Yeah, this was great. I appreciate everybody sticking around for us throughout the questions. If you have anything, again, we like to keep the whole consultation experience conversational and organic. We recognize the kind of thought on solar energy oftentimes is lost on people when they are finding out the costs. But a lot of what is being referenced on the internet isn't accurate to what we have seen, at least from our vendors, within the last 2 years or so. So very recently, there been kind of a intersection or threshold crossed rather, where cost is now in the favor of the consumer. So I would say if it is something where you've been a little bashful about getting a quote, we'd be happy to put together one just for the sake of even answering some questions for you. So please feel free. You're welcome to reach out to any one of us. You can use these numbers, you can text us. So yeah, thanks again to everybody for joining. Thanks, Nick, very much for helping out on today's webinar. And thanks, Danny, for taking the controls and working the sticks for us throughout.
Yeah, appreciate you, Gatsby. Thank you, Danny. I think that was very informative. So
Quite.
our best one yet, I would say.
Almost. All right, guys. Well, to that, have a great day. We'll look forward to hearing from you. Have a great Memorial Day weekend, everybody. Take care.
Yeah, have fun out there.